Hey, what's up everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. Wow. Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann, Terrence Mann, Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann, along with Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum, Paul George, obviously. They they just got the Clippers to the conference finals for the very first time in their histories. So congratulations to all the Clipper fans. As a Laker fan, I am, this is strange for me because I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up hating the Jazz. They were the team that I grew up hating. When I first really started watching playoff basketball with the Lakers finally getting some success, it was the Jazz that knocked us off quite a bit. So there were certain teams that I hated as a kid. And the Blazers, the Jazz, the Kings, those were the three teams that come to mind first, besides the Celtics, obviously. So in that same era, I used to root for the Clippers. So it was very strange for me to watch these two teams in the dynamic that I now have. My team is not involved. We're gone. We're on the couch. And really, my thing with the Jazz is they're a talented team, but they have a system that they run that's kind of robotic. Just shoot, 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 shoot. Gobert blocks shots. Shoot, shoot, shoot. It's like, if you understand what they're doing, you should be able to stop it. It's not a whole lot of creativity to it outside of the greatness of Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell put on his greatness. The Jazz were shooting like they normally do. But the thing about the Jazz as well is if you attack them, they don't guard the three-point line well themselves. And if you can get some good shots, you can make them against this team. And time again, we saw the Clippers take advantage of the fact that Rudy Gobert does not like chasing people out to the three-point line. We saw repeatedly Reggie Jackson take advantage of the fact that they couldn't stop his dribble penetration. Missing Mike Conley for most of this series really hurt the Jazz. And even though they got out to an early 2-2 lead victory in the series, what ended up happening was the Clippers ended up gaining their momentum. They got better as the series progressed. Guys like Reggie Jackson started getting their momentum, started getting their confidence going, started doing things that worked, and they continued to press the button. Ty Lue, give him credit. He was the reason I think they ultimately got this far into these playoffs, because what he did was adjust well. He'd get hit in the mouth at the beginning of these series. He would make the adjustments necessary based on the film and the studying that he had done and his coaching staff had done. And his players, hats off to all of them, they executed the plan well. They have veterans that you can rely upon. And even if they had injuries, they still continue to have the next man up mentality. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know how they've done it. Kawhi Leonard went down. Looks like he's going to be out for the playoffs. What's his name? Serge Ibaka, same thing. And they're continuing to find ways to win. Got to give Nicholas Batum a lot of credit. He's been an unsung hero this season. Guys, one of the guys that have been forgotten about entirely because he was lost in Charlotte. But this is a dude who, when he was with the Blazers, basically was the glue guy for that team. He was a Tayshaun Prince type player for their team. He's doing the same thing for the Clippers, and because he's a multi-positional player, you can slip him in anywhere. He'll hit his shots. He'll hit his free throws. He'll play defense. He's long, and he's reliable. And you just got to give him credit because he really is so sturdy down there for that Clipper team. Paul George has been fantastic. Playoff P has been fantastic. Playoff P. I told you guys, the Clippers had an opportunity to overachieve in these playoffs. I said it before the playoffs even began. The way things were starting to line up, it just looked like they were starting to get their mojo. And they had a path that looked like they could probably, it was favorable for them. For one, they were facing a team they had beaten last year in the Dallas Mavericks. Why wouldn't they think they could do it again? And then two, against the Jazz are a team that plays similar as them and don't really have any advantage over them because of the presence of guys like Patrick Beverley and Terrence Mann, and Paul George, and beforehand Kawhi Leonard, who they can throw at a guy like Mike Conley or Donovan Mitchell. or some of their other guys. They match up well with this team. And when you getting stuff out of guys like those, offensively and defensively, and you have a guy like Terrence Mann who's stepping into his greatness right before your very eyes, one of those volatile talents that I always tell us about, you know, one of those guys that you have to be careful because you don't know when they're going to wake up and decide they want to be who they're going to be tomorrow. And that's exactly what happened right there. You clearly see that Terrence Mann is somebody in this league, and apparently he shows up when it matters the most. And because he's on this team, the Clippers are in the Western Conference Finals for the very first time. And that is no joke. No joke. 39 points. And let me tell you something. The Clippers were down huge in this game. This is another one of those massive comebacks that we've seen a couple of times in these playoffs. They were down 25 late in the game and came back just like we saw several nights ago. These playoffs have been incredible. The longer they continue to go, the better they're continuing to rank in amongst the great playoffs that we've seen. And I think with the storyline implications of the very next series, I don't think it gets much better than this. I mean, take a look at what we have here. We have the LA Clippers versus the Phoenix Suns. That's Chris Paul going up against the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. And he's not able to start the series in theory because of COVID-19. But he will finish the series. You can count on that. He'll be there. This is going to be epic. And the teams match up well. Very well. And I don't know who I have favored because I haven't thought that far ahead just yet. So I'll probably make a separate video on that. But man, that is going to be unbelievably fun. Unbelievably fun. So, you know, the one thing I saw about the Utah Jazz and the thing they're going to have to work on is they have got to not turn the ball over as much. If they're going to keep this same team, they turned the ball over entirely too much, and they didn't play defense as well as they should have. Rudy Gobert, I know he was not himself. I think he got hobbled somewhere in this playoffs, somewhere along the line. He hurt something because he was not himself at all. But they're going to have to find a way to get him a backup that can do the things that he cannot do. Because when they put Derek Favors in the game, you still have the same problems. And that is unacceptable. You have got to find a guy that can do the Tristan Thompson type things, who can run out to the three-point line and guard the three-point line and then get back in the paint. I'm telling you, players like that, they have value. Anybody who's long, tall, and can get out to the three-point line and guard the three-point line is going to be so crucial, because in these playoffs, we have seen if you lack perimeter defense, you are potentially going to get beaten. And that's what we have seen here. It is simple as that. So I would encourage all NBA players who are trying to get, trying to get to the league. If you're a youngster trying to get to the league, you consider what perimeter defense can do for you in terms of your value going forward. You work on that aspect of your game, because I guarantee you, those who can guard that will have a space in this league going forward. Because there has to be an answer for all these three-point shots. Too many teams are actually living and dying by the three-point shot. And I'm telling you, Utah died by it. Make no mistake about it, the Utah Jazz did die by the three-point shot, but not because they were missing it, but because they relied upon it so much that it allowed them to get away from other aspects of the game that they should have been focusing on, like defense. Too much of an emphasis on shooting, not enough of an emphasis on intangibles. And that's why you cannot be one-dimensional. You can be one of those teams that shoots threes. They pulled the Orlando trick. That's what they did. The Dwight Howard Orlando, remember Turkoglu and all those guys, inside out. Yeah, Rudy Gobert, he was playing the Dwight Howard role. The problem is that didn't work then, and it doesn't work now. Why? Too much shooting, not enough intangibles. Clippers had dribble penetration. They have positionless players that can dribble into and hit corner shots and all this good stuff. Utah didn't have that much wiggle. They didn't have that much agility. They were more robotic, except for Donovan Mitchell. And that is why they got as far as they did, because Donovan Mitchell provided them that. Jordan Clarkson as well provided them that. Without those two players, they don't have it at all. They need more versatility. They need more athleticism. They need to focus on that in the next season, whether it be through the draft or through free agency. They have got to get some guys who can do some things. A Kelly Oubre type player. They need somebody like that. But so yeah, man. That's that. The Clippers are moving on now. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Kawhi being able to play in this series, you guys. It would be nice if he's able to lace him up, you know. But given the news that's been coming out about his knee and given how cautious he's been in the past, it's not looking good. So I would assume he's not going to be out there. But I'll tell you this. The one thing about the LA Clippers that we have seen, two things I'm going to mention here is, one, they get off to bad starts. They're going to have to do a better job of getting off to a good start because the Phoenix Suns have been blowing people out and keeping their foot on people's necks. And there's no way I'm expecting them to blow a 2-0, 0-2 lead against the Clippers. I'm not expecting that. So it would be wise for the Clippers to not get off to a slow start in the series, especially with Chris Paul not being out there. They need to get one of these first two games, if not both of them. So that's the first thing. But the second thing, which is a more positive thing, is they are a full-fledged team. This is a team. This is not a couple superstars going at it the best way they can, dribble, use their incredible moves and just blow you out. No, this is not that. This is, like the Hawks, a team that's attacking you from everywhere. That's what the Clippers are. That's why they are where they are. Because even if they lose a few players, they're still got players coming at you from different angles. All with the ability to shoot, all with the understanding of how to win, which is what I appreciate about the Clippers vets. They do the little things. You know, the Patrick Beverleys of the world, the Nicholas Batuns of the world, the Marcus Morrises of the world. They do the little things necessary. Rajon Rondo, you're seeing his presence down there. They do the little things that you need vets to do to keep you in the basketball game against talent that is probably better than you. And that's what you're seeing. Basketball IQ, team effort, unselfishness, guys having big games out of nowhere, guys playing for one another. And I told you, that was a humbled team last year. That Clipper team was humbled. They ate about as much crow as anyone. If they survive that, these playoffs is easy. And that's what happened. We put them through something. They put themselves through something, obsessing over us and having it fail so miserably. They had to go into the offseason having their momentum deflated as much as any team ever has. Going from one of the teams that they thought could be champions to a team that everyone was laughing at. And they only got rid of a few players. Those guys came back. And they played better. And that's why they are where they are. So you got to give them credit, you know. This has been a hell of a season. But I said, because of that dynamic, I thought they might overachieve, and they have. They're in the Western Conference Finals. And I think they got a good chance of getting to the finals, too. Because, like I said, Chris Paul is what makes the Phoenix Suns go. And if they can't get a good start on the Clippers, there's no guarantee the Clippers are going to cough up a lead, because what we're seeing is a Clipper team on a 4-game winning streak, and 2 of those games are without Kawhi Leonard. Against a very good Utah Jazz team that I could argue shoots better than that Phoenix team, even though the Phoenix team shoots very well. It's going to be very, very important for that Phoenix team to come out strong. But anyway, like I said, that'll be another video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll leave it at that. Congratulations, you Clipper fans. Man, you know what I mean? What a difference a year makes. Video 44.